Did you know that the trucking industry is a vital part of our economy? But not all trucking jobs are created equally. In this video, we'll take a look at the difference between local trucking, OTR trucking, and regional trucking. Let's have a look. Local trucking refers to driving routes that are within a certain radius of your home base. These truck drivers typically make multiple stops throughout the day. When it comes to local truck driving, one of the main advantages is that truck drivers will typically be home daily, which means they get to spend more time with their family. They also don't have to deal with the isolation as much being out on the open road. That typically comes with OTR trucking. They also don't have to deal with the isolation as much that comes with OTR trucking. Here are a few more good things about local trucking. A lot of these local trucking companies, they usually don't run on the weekends. So if you're looking for your Saturdays and Sundays off, that can be a pro for you. Another good thing about these guys is they have small trucks. So that's gonna make it easier to back in tight spots. Or if you have to make a U-turn behind a warehouse, it's definitely gonna be a lot easier. If you're looking for a more stable schedule, you can check that off your box because local truckers, they're typically gonna have a steady schedule Monday through Friday, and that's always good, especially if you have a family. If you're a local truck driver, OTR trucker, regional truck driver, subscribe to the channel. Oh, one more thing, don't forget to smash that like button. These guys are typically gonna have shorter drives because, like I said before, you're gonna be making multiple stops throughout the day. So your next stop can be just a mile up the road, and you're making like up to 14 different stops a day as a local truck driver. Especially if you're working for Cisco or Saya, XPO Logistics, those guys have multiple stops throughout the day, but they're home daily. Some of the local companies are also going to pay you by the hour. So if you're looking to get paid by the hour and overtime pay, and you don't want to worry about getting paid by the cents per mile, local trucking companies can be good for you. When it comes to local truck driving, there's also some cons. Let's check them out. Typically, it's not uncommon to work up to 12 hours a day as a local truck driver, making multiple stops. I'm sure they even push it to 13.5 hours. Oh yeah, when it comes to local trucking, you're definitely gonna have a lot of city driving. So if you don't mind driving in Seattle, Chicago, New York, then check out the local companies. It's not easy. You're gonna have to manually unload and load your trailer. Not with all of them though, but typically you're gonna have to manually unload your trailer with the pallet jack. OTR trucking, also known as over-the-road trucking, involves longer hauls, often crossing state lines. These truck drivers can usually be on the road for days, weeks, or even months at a time, which in itself is a huge con. Let's take a look at some of the pros and some of the cons to OTR trucking. Pro number one, you're gonna have your freedom. I don't know about you guys, but I personally love my freedom. And that's exactly what OTR offers you. So if you don't have a family and you're not trying to stress out about getting home right away, OTR can be good for you. Not only that, but you don't have to worry about your bosses as much because you're just out there driving, doing your thing, and making your scheduled appointment on time. Typically, OTR truck drivers, they're not gonna have to manually unload and load their trailer with the hand pallet jack. So that's always very nice, especially if you're not looking to get your hands dirty. This one is a big one. You're gonna have a assigned truck. That itself is probably worth it. With all that being said, let's take a look at some of the cons to OTR trucking. You're definitely gonna be looking at minimal time with the family or with your girlfriend or your friends because let's be real. Most of these trucking companies, they have a no rider policy. So you're not gonna be able to bring your friends or your girlfriends with you. And so it can get pretty lonely out on the road. Stay away from them lot lizards though. You're gonna be looking at long hours behind the road for sure. And if you can't handle that, then maybe trucking's not for you because you're still gonna be having long hours with any trucking job really. As you're starting off, the pay is probably not gonna be the best for the OTR drivers. I'm not saying all, so give me a break, I'm not saying all. The pay, you really gotta look around and try to find the best company that's gonna be right for you. I personally wouldn't take a trucking job for anything less than 60K a year. That's pretty fair. Another con when you're out on the road, you're gonna have to worry about showers and laundry, and that can be pretty pricey. All adds up at the end of the year. Not sure how much laundry and showers cost out there on the road, but one thing I do know, they add up at the end of the year. The potential for an unhealthy lifestyle out on the road is very common, unfortunately, because a lot of truck drivers, they're just gonna eat fast food. Unless you're Alex the trucking guy, this guy just cooks his meal right in the truck. That's how you eat healthy on the road. This one right here is my favorite, regional trucking. Why is it my favorite? Well, regional trucking is a middle ground between local and OTR. These truck drivers typically stay within a geographical area, such as myself, I'm a regional truck driver. So, example is I cover 4 states, Washington, Idaho, Montana, and Oregon, Pacific Northwest. Or you can be covering the Midwest or the East Coast. Typically we're gone only for 1 to 2 days, maybe 3. It really depends on where you're going, but usually no longer than 3 days. That's a lot better than being gone for weeks or months at a time like OTR truckers. I gotta give it up to them. I don't know how they do that. I couldn't do that. Here are a few pros to regional trucking to consider. Job security. Not really gonna have to worry about looking around for a job because for the most part, if you're pulling reefers, everybody needs to eat. Regional truck driving offers work-life balance, so that's always good. Although, some of these regional trucking companies, they're gonna have you out for 5 days, maybe a week. Another benefit is you get to stay in your geographical area. So that being said, you get to learn it really well. And trust me, in the mountains, comes in handy in the wintertime. Here are a few cons to consider because just like any job, there are some cons, which are slip seating. If you don't know what that is, basically you're not assigned to any truck. A lot of drivers are using the same truck, and unfortunately, some of them make a big mess and trash the truck, and it's just nasty. That's a huge con because obviously you want your own truck and you want to make it your home. Another con is some of these regional trucking companies, you're gonna have to have experience. So that can be a big bummer if you're locked into a contract with another company because you had to use them to get your CDL license. But hey, do your time and eventually you can switch. A lot of the regional trucking companies, you're not gonna have time for anything. You pretty much have to take your 10 hours off and then hit the road again. It's not that big of a deal though, really, but some people, they don't like that. So basically, local trucking offers a more stable schedule and an opportunity to be home every night. OTR trucking requires a lot of time on the road, and regional trucking offers a balance between the two. That's why it's my personal favorite. But ultimately, the choice between local trucking, OTR trucking, and regional trucking really comes down to the personal preference and the lifestyle that you have or that you're looking for. All in all, you just gotta think about the time you're willing to spend away from your friends and from your family. So choose wisely.